Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. This episode is brought to you by The Wellness Paradigm, a holistic health coaching company shifting the way that women understand and heal their bodies. Through bioenergetic testing, functional lab testing, and functional nutrition, we uncover what traditional approaches often overlook, so you can stop guessing, start healing, and finally feel like yourself again. No more one-size-fits-all protocols, just real answers, deep-rooted healing, and the clarity and confidence you deserve to feel incredible. It's time to shift the paradigm of women's health. Now, onto our show. Good afternoon, Emily.
Hi.
Guys, I'm so excited Emily is spending some of her beautiful afternoon with us. She is incredible. She is a professional speaker and author, the founder of Empowered Moms, and also a leadership coach who draws from over 20 years of experience as an advanced practice nurse. And she really helps ambitious women break free from burnout and mastering the art of healthy boundaries, which I know is hard for many women. So let's dive in and tell a little bit more on who you are, Emily, as well as how you got started in doing all this.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me and for that beautiful introduction. I love helping, like you said, ambitious women break out of burnout. I hear like the people-pleasing tendencies over and over and over again, or the self-sacrifice, like I have to do this, right? And I just really want to pour into these women that those are choices. And we know that, and I think we realize that, but that's kind of the bare bones of who I am and why I've started the company that I've started and why I've been coaching so many people on this. And I think just a quick little backstory was, I heard my mom say things like, oh, I gave up my life for my kids. And it was so exciting for her. And I believed that from her. She was really happy about it. And then it started shifting and it started turning and it felt like it was bitter and it felt like she was resenting that, not having kids, but the choices that she made during that or after. And then she kind of always had this attitude of, well, it's too late now. Now, I think our generation is all about it's never too late, right? And I think that that's the other key factor is so you may be writing new chapters of your story throughout your life. And really, the one thing we know for certain is that things change. Change is constant. And if we either adapt to it or adjust to it, I think that that's how we all do the best. But change is also very uncomfortable. And most of us get scared or fear that discomfort. And we know the thing on the other side is what's best, but I don't know if I'm ready to get there, or I'm a little too scared to do that. I really love helping to empower women. Well, let's dive into that. There's a reason you feel this way, and there's a reason that you get excited when you talk about these things. So that's essentially, I started a community called Empowered Moms. We do high-level coaching, and I love the way that our community even mentors each other. So it's kind of in a huge nutshell is how I got into it. And one little last tidbit is I spent 20 years in nursing, and I think what I saw was a lot of burnout, a lot of like that sacrificial, yes givers, the people pleasers, the things like that, where we just like I'm going to say we because I was one of them. I can be some days. I didn't know how to say no. Right. I didn't know how to do that. And so what I've learned is what it cost me to not do that.
Mm-hmm.
Years, decades of burnout. And I would question, why am I even doing this? This is silly. Why do I have 3 jobs? Why do I do that? All these questions. And then I realized the same thing that when I saw myself getting bitter and resentful, I felt that same feeling that my mom might have felt, or that when I was a kid watching her. So I thought to myself, wait a minute, this is all a choice. Wait a minute. I need to stop and pump the brakes and start taking better care of myself so that I don't continue this, I call it like the bad behavior, right? So that's essentially what I help women with coaching and through just support and community and mentoring. And I'm just really passionate about let's stop making those excuses. Let's actually, if you need help to move forward, there is support and there's communities and there's people out there that will help you get through that like kind of stuck feeling and help you through whatever transition you're going through.
Yeah, I think community is, we were jamming on that a little bit, is one of the most important things,
Yeah.
especially being a mom, especially being a business owner, or not even a business owner, but, an ambitious woman who maybe wants more, out of their life. So I would love for you to explain a little bit more on the Empowered Moms community, kind of what you guys do, who you help.
Yeah. Yeah. So right now we have a free community on Facebook. Everybody's welcome. jump in, introduce yourself. We have almost 900 people in there right now. So it's a little wild and crazy in there, but we love when people promote the things that they have going on in terms of like a business. At the same time, we have a big event coming up in October. It's our third big live event, and it's like in the Detroit Southfield area. And that's where we're really pouring into people with motivational speakers. And then we have, I think, about 20 women-owned vendors. So a lot of these women literally might have started like last year, and now they're putting themselves out there with their products or their services. And they're so proud and they're so excited. And they remember sitting in the audience being a little bit scared and nervous to be there. I highly recommend it if you think you're drawn to being just around, I'm going to call it dreamers, people that are just excited about that next phase, or they just want to be around people and get curious about, well, what is it like? Is there really something on the other side of motherhood? If you want, I have plenty of friends that are like, no, I'm totally fulfilled exactly where I'm at. I'm like, hey, thumbs up, 100%. But if there's just something that's like itching away at you and you feel like this pull, or like, maybe I should do this thing, or I've had this little, the seed was planted, and you're like, but I don't really know how to do that, or that just sounds too scary, but I kind of want to get curious about that, I would get in the room. Get in the room and meet some of these amazing women at our event. And also, like I said, through Empowered Moms, we do some high level coaching. If it's one-on-one, something a little more intimate that you just need my time and attention to dive in, maybe something that's not so outwardly you're ready to put out there, you want to work through first, I would highly recommend trying that out as well. So just kind of seeing what kind of support you need. We also do some, I was going to say really quick, we also do community events around the Metro Detroit area. All of our networking events have a small ticket fee. However, 100% of that ticket goes to a nonprofit. So we always try to like collaborate. We do a lot of cross collaborations where I'll bring in like maybe a speaker, a couple vendors, and then a nonprofit. So it's like we're promoting all of that at the same time as like doing a networking event. So we really just try to like bring in community and bring in people from all over, Michigan and the Detroit areas, and really just try to pour into you.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think honestly, in-person events is where true life-changing, I really feel, a lot of breakthroughs happen.
Yeah.
Online absolutely is amazing too, but being around people, talking, collaborating, sharing, yeah, there's really nothing like it.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to the boundaries thing because I think a lot of women need to hear this topic. Maybe need a little bit of guidance. So how would you, one, for some woman that maybe doesn't understand that boundaries are an issue, they're feeling very burnt out. And I would love to hear your explanation of burnout because we have a lot of women that come on and talk about burnout and they speak about it in many different ways. And a lot of people don't understand what burnout actually looks and feels like until they're like on the ground dying, like that is extreme. How can you bring attention to maybe that's where your body's at and, working through it?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the definition of burnout for me is just the pure sense of overgiving past your limit. And you have made that decision, unfortunately, and people will argue with me. Well, but I'm a mom. Yes, and let's talk about that. Let's talk about that decision. Let's talk about your support systems. Let's talk about all of the places. Like I want to help open the picture of where are we not looking? Yeah. Because when people feel stuck, they're almost cutting off the openness to look anywhere else. And what happens is, and I'm raising my hand. This was me too, and has been me at some times, is you start going into the victim mentality. Mm-hmm. Now, the other thing is you've also trained people how to treat you. And that's a little bit tricky. So we can get into that too. But I really think that burnout comes from overgiving past your limit or past your love point. And now you feel like you owe it and you have to, because that's your way of being. And that's what I find out. That's what I found out through myself when I healed myself and countless other people is we got to start bringing that back to recognizing when you're getting close to your limit and bringing it back down so we don't keep doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a hard one to break.
It is. And it's constant. This is not, I mean, listen, someone has called me the expert at this, and I'm like, my husband might beg to differ. Like, I don't know if she's an expert 100% of the time. Oh, nobody is. There's been times I have, quote, failed myself or been like, Emily, you were just teaching about this. Well, okay, because we're human. And
Mhm.
what we do, the best way I can help people move through that is once you gain those tools and that knowledge about it, you can't unlearn it, number one. Whether you practice it or not is your choice. And so there's times I have forgotten to practice it. I've let the easy way out, or I went back to an old habit. So as soon as you recognize that and that's in your awareness, you can go, oh, right. Remember that thing I learned about boundaries? Remember that thing I teach people about? I should probably stick that one in here. Right. And so I think that that really helps people not to shame yourself, but to go, oh, shoot, I let that one slide. I got to circle back and redo that because that was not okay, or whatever it may be that you were going through.
Yes, we are all human. I think most coaches have coaches, and
Yep.
for that very reason, But
Yeah.
I'm curious on when you say, boundaries or burnout, what are some ways that women, especially women who are, very driven moms, can help kind of lessen that load on mentally and avoid burnout?
Well, I think, okay, so number one, it's recognizing, but I would say a lot of people are in it. So let's just assume you're in it, right? So you're in it. I want you to start thinking about what is it that you actually need? Only you can define this. And no one's reading your mind and no one's coming on a white horse to save you. Sorry. I'm going to get blunt right away. Nobody's coming. Nobody can read your mind. So first of all, you need to determine what is it that you're not getting that you need. What is it that what is your definition of how to help yourself and feel better, right? Most moms and most people would probably be like, I just need more time, or I need more energy, or I need more sleep, right? So once you kind of define what it is that you need, now let's try to open up that picture and go, where are you not asking for help? Because come on, a lot of us are stubborn control freaks. We're not going to go ask for help because of why? Because it makes it look like we can't do it.
Mhm.
We go and ask for help. We think people think we can't do it. Here's the real truth. They already know you can because you do it nonstop and you do it every day. You're asking for help because in this moment, you've reached your limit.
Mhm.
Hey, wave the white flag, need a little bit of support here, whatever that looks like. Whether it's the neighborhood kid that's the mother's helper and you just need help with someone, or, whatever it may be. Maybe it's communicating with your spouse, not in I need you to do this for me. No, I'm waving the white flag. I'm a little bit burned out, whatever it may be. How are you? Check in with them, check in with your support person, your teammate. And then if they're okay, then say, hey, by the way, do you think that this could be possible, right? Or is it possible that I just need 2 hours this weekend to like clean up stuff or whatever I may need? What works for you, right? And what do you need? And I think when you have that communication of like, and then if you're both burnt out, then where do you need to bring in a third person and another person? And that there is nothing wrong with that. And I think the more you get used to receiving, it's a really,
Mhm.
really tough word. The more you get used to asking and receiving, the better off you'll be and the more joy you will have. We just get so stubborn in that because we are afraid of what people think. Let me tell you, everybody's burned out. And then we get afraid to ask because we think everybody's burned out. Well, if you don't ask, this is what I tell my children, the answer is always no if you don't ask it.
Always.
You know how many times my kids ask questions about when can I get a cookie or what time? I'm like, well, now I have to answer you, right? Can I do this? Can I do this? Can I do this? And I said, no, you only get two tries. When I say no 2 times, I mean that, right? But I think the reality is really looking inward and saying, what is it that I really need? And it could be a basic need. When I say sleep, I mean that's a basic need. If you're not getting that, what do you need to create? What system in your household do you need? What help do you need? Who can help you? Because all of these little things will trickle down into you getting what you need. And that is not selfish. I
Yeah.
think it's really important that women know that this is not selfish, this is essential. And really, one more quick tip on that is centuries ago, when women had children, the community came and took care of the mom and the baby.
Um,
The aunts, the uncles, the tribes, the community came. And guess what, women? We're trying to do this on our own.
yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Why are we not leaning on our communities? Why are we not reaching out for that help? It doesn't matter how seasoned you are. We all go through things. And the more vulnerable you get, the more receptive people will get with you, with the people that you love and trust, right? I don't mean like you have to, be vulnerable with everybody. Be vulnerable with the people you love and trust. They will be more than happy to help you.
Communication's big, right? I think people, especially women, especially highly ambitious women, view it as a sign of weakness, right? And that's a tough thing to reframe, right?
Yes.
Um, especially around motherhood. It's like, well, no, I can do it myself. Sure. And how's your body doing? Obviously, from my perspective, as a somebody who's worked with moms for 15 years, it's like I see the metabolic literal damage it's causing when they do not say no. They don't like prioritize anything else besides their kid, their family, their work, other people, right? It's like it actually impacts your health, not just your mental health, your actual physical health too. Which I think people often forget about until they crash and burn, and then their body is like, well, now you have to address it because, what are
Well, and
some,
yeah, I was gonna say that's so true. And also you have to be willing to give up control. And I
oh,
think that's especially for the woman that is, well, I won't even define you. You know who you are. Because I'm this person. So it's like I have to give up control too, which means that if I do wave the white flag, ask for help, I have to be willing to let that person do it the way that they would do it and around later and say, you're doing it wrong. I.e., women, if you get someone to vacuum your house, like your spouse or your partner or your kids, and they do it 80%, guess what? It's better than zero, and you didn't have to do it. You might come around later, but don't do it in front of them because you will lose that support so quickly.
mhm.
Because what? They didn't load the dishwasher the right way. Let it go. Let those dishes go, ladies.
So true. Talk about this a lot with like delegating, even just like in business. It's just like nobody's going to be you, and that's okay. But if they do it 70 or 80%, that's still way better than you trying to be everybody for everything or everything for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Um, you had mentioned a few things before we started recording, but I want to tap a little bit on like boundaries. If somebody has a problem with boundaries, um, maybe again, they don't really realize it or they can't say no. What are some things that you can gently just reframe for them to help them shift out of that and, yeah, just take care of themselves a little more?
Yeah. So a lot of times people think boundaries is just like the hard no, right? And so if you're kind of had those people pleasing tendencies, you have a hard time saying that because again, afraid of what people will think and things like that. Boundaries is not just saying no. And one easy way I can help you today is by educating you on boundary could just be slowing down your yes. And how you do that is you pause.
Hmm.
And it is that simple. Now it's hard for the person that's a yes person and like, no, no, I just want to say yes. Oh, they need me. This person needs me. There's nobody else in the world that could help them, which I doubt. We all know that that's not true. But they asked me, so I have to do it. No, no, no. There's no rule book that said you had to do that, right? So when someone says, especially when it's non-emergent, hey Shannon, when you get a chance, can you do this? That is not do it right now.
Hmm.
So pause. And if Shannon was just venting to me of how busy and overwhelmed she was, then why would she choose to do this thing that's not emergent, right? If I was Shannon's coach, I would say, what do you need first? How can you help yourself? Even if it's a few deep breaths, or just go get some food or some water, and then I'll get to that task. If
Yeah.
even you just start training, basically what you're doing too is you're training people that you're not going to be so quick to respond and that starts shifting paradigms. Now, if you've always been so quick to respond, guess what? Some people will recognize and think something's wrong,
Yeah.
and they might not like this new you. So
Yeah.
just be ready for that. Like, and if they comment on something like that, then say, I'm working on my boundaries and limits. And let me
Hmm.
communicate with you how I'm doing that, right? So if you do get called out on it, like, you used to be so quick to respond. Yeah, and I'm working on that because life has changed. You don't have to say how busy you are. This is not like the who's busier Olympic Games, because guess what? Nobody cares. Everybody's busy and nobody cares. So, which means also don't be afraid to ask for help still, but understand just respecting their boundaries. Hopefully, they will tell you now's not the best time for me. Can you circle back in a week? If you don't find someone, I might be better off, it might be a better week. So one other thing with boundaries too is when you say yes to one thing over here, I want you to pause, because if you're about to say yes to that, I want you to think about what you're saying no to.
Mm.
So every yes has a no to something else. So if you say yes to, carpooling or whatever it may be, what are you saying no to? So there's something that's sacrificed. Now it might be time, and maybe
Mhm.
you have it that day. That's okay. If you're willing to do that and you're okay, then great. Then feel good about that. But if you're about to say yes to something and it does not make you feel good because it's taking away from something you really want to be a part of, then why? And I want you to think about, there's always a cost. So what is it costing you then? You really want to be doing this over here, but now you feel obligated for this. Is there a way to mesh these two as well?
Totally. I love that. And I will also add one thing, if I may, because it's not going to feel comfortable when you first do it too. It's going to feel really uncomfortable. Like, uh, obviously, we talked about boundaries with my clients as well. And it's very much like, you know, it's okay to say no to this. And the first time they're like, it's like this lump in your throat. You're like, they're going to hate me, like nobody is going to hate you if you honor yourself. Now, some people, if they have words or thoughts, that's their projections, not who you are as a person, right? A lot of people are very used to taking advantage of many people, especially ones that always say yes. So, if they push back a little, that's not a you problem, right?
100%. And Shannon, that's such a great point, is if they don't respect your boundary or
Oh.
try to make you feel guilty or try to put in you're the only one, like all the stuff, remember, I would still pause. That is a reflection on them
Mm-hmm.
and on and I want you to start paying attention to that, because if they start manipulating you,
Yep.
because you used to be easily manipulated, but now you're listening to this podcast, you have better boundaries, and you already, by listening and pausing, are starting to have better boundaries. You're going to start recognizing these people and being like, huh,
Mm-hmm.
that shows their character.
Yep.
You're communicating your limit in a healthy and beautiful way with love and respect, and saying, oh, wish I could help you out. Or now I'm one of those people that still says, I'm so sorry. You don't have to do that, but that takes practice. So it's okay to say, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't help you. You know how much I love helping you. I have to sit this one out. Do not, also, really quick point, don't give the laundry list why you
Yeah.
can't do it. And I'll tell you why.
Yes.
You are shooting yourself in the foot.
Totally.
To a manipulating person,
Yep.
they will find a solution for all of those issues so that you come back to help them. Don't do it. Don't say it. Zip it. Zip it. Zip it. Say nothing, because you're going to shoot yourself in the foot. Well, I have this going on and this going on, and then I can't because of this. And then they'll be like, oh, well, I can find you a sitter. Well, I can do this. Like, they are very skilled at their character and manipulation. So you're going to start paying attention to this, because if they start kind of making you feel bad for your choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had clients that have been like, Emily, I failed at that boundary. Oh, no, 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 you're learning. And
Yeah.
now you're learning more about that person. We'll get stronger next time. You'll get stronger. It's a muscle. We're building this muscle. I practice it all the time. It doesn't end.
No, me too. Especially being a business owner where you just like, my default is to overgive. And it's so hard where it's like, if you can't do something, just instead of being like, no, but how about next week? It's like, no. And then there's this awkward pause where you're just like, word vomit on like why on things I can't, and it's that nobody's winning in that situation. Like, if I could give one more piece of advice too, just pause.
Yeah.
Don't just pause, because we as women, I feel like it's very uncomfortable to pause and to feel that discomfort. And like, just like a muscle, the more you do it, the less, discomfort it feels. And I'm not saying it's going to always feel comfortable, but at least just like, yeah, just stop and just see what they say. They might surprise you. And if they push back, that's okay too. But, they might be like, oh, okay, no worries. I'll ask this person. You're like, well, and then you realize, oh my God, thank God, I really didn't want to do that. And then you really feel like these emotions of what you really felt, even if you said it was just a time thing. It was really just a capacity, or, you just really don't want to do it, and that's okay. You don't have to always have an excuse for why you can't do something.
Yeah. And well, there's a great book that's called The Best Yes. And it's basically like a yes or no, but that best yes comes from that pause. Is this really the best yes? Should I say yes to this? Because our initial response is yes. Oh,
Hmm.
I can absolutely take your dog this weekend. Oh, yeah, sure. By the way, I don't have dogs, but my kids love dogs and we all love dogs. Oh, yeah, I'll take your dog all weekend, Memorial Day weekend with the fireworks and the dogs go crazy because I didn't think that one through. And then when I asked my husband, he's like, "Are you kidding me? Do you know how many times our kids go in and out the door and we don't have to worry that a pet's going to run out because we don't have pets? Do you want to be doing this all weekend? Plus, we don't know if we're going out of town and you're just about to commit to this." And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't think about all those things because
Yeah.
my brain and my heart's always like, oh, of course I'll help you." So
Yeah.
when you pause and say, and you don't even have to respond to that
Yeah.
because they're asking the question, go and do your feelings and your research. And you're like, wait a minute, is this the best for our family? And the response is, was maybe I can help you find someone. If there's someone you love and care about, right? Maybe I can help you find someone. But unfortunately, that's not the best scenario for our family this weekend. And don't go into all the answers or whatever. Maybe even that was too much. But again, that pause will help you reflect on, is this the best? Yes. And who, again, it's costing you something. So then who and what are you saying no to? Right. So again, thinking about that too.
Yeah. I love that. I think to wrap it up, like if there one kind of overarching, I call them nuggies, little nuggets. If some woman is, maybe battling with this a little bit, wants to shift, has heard this and is like, okay, great, but it's hard. What would you kind of give them as some advice?
What I would say is learning how to practice these healthy boundaries is the greatest form of self respect you will ever have.
Hmm.
And if you can take that in and just remind yourself, like, this is for me, it's not against them saying no, it's actually just for me and not feeling guilty. I think that's the best thing I can help you with today is to start letting go of that guilt as if it's your duty and responsibility to say yes to this person because it's really not. You don't owe anybody anything. I mean, you might feel guilty because you do. Okay,
Hmm.
but maybe this is not the right time because you're going through a lot. So, if you can really just start realizing that these boundaries and communicating that limit is the greatest form of self-respect you'll ever have. I think when you start seeing it that way, it might start feeling easier to implement those.
Yeah, love that. Emily, if people wanted to find you and connect with you, where can they find you?
Yeah, I think the best place is Instagram. So it's at Dr. Emily Jacobs. That's where all things Empowered Moms is. We also have our free Facebook group called Empowered Moms. So come jump in. We don't bite. You can take it or leave it and just kind of be a part of that. And then just you can. I love when people just message me if there's something that you took away from this or need a little bit of extra help on. It's me. I don't have all the robots yet, but I will respond to you because I really do find it passionate that when women are searching for that type of help, that either I can connect you with someone or I can help you or at least lead you in a direction that could be a start to that relief.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I will definitely put those links down in the show notes, so you guys can go follow her and her community. And if you're in the Metro Detroit area, definitely check out the in-person event. I think is it just called Empowered Moms Live?
Yes, you got
Um,
it.
Perfect. And otherwise, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate this conversation. And as always, if you guys found this helpful, as she mentioned, shoot her a DM, shoot me a DM. We'd love to hear, little takeaways you had. And as always, if you want to leave a review, that is very appreciated as well. So thank you so much for being here, and we'll catch you guys on the next show. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.